Prominent lawyer Danny Sheehan, who heads the nonprofit the Global Paradigm Institute, which is a nonprofit to study the UAP phenomena and advocate for UFO transparency and disclosure, has come out in a recent interview and a couple of other times actually to say that there is an underwater base off the coast of California, and in a new revelation has stated that there is another base in Arizona. Now, I realize when you first hear this, you think, what the F, right? How is this possible? How do we know about these? And what is going on in these places? And it all starts with this tweet that he put out. In fact, the USS Nimitz-class carriers off the coast of Baja, California, was deployed to monitor an underwater UFO UAP base near Guadalupe Island. Over 100 sightings of craft were monitored moving in and out of the ocean, tracked by Navy submarines. Another UFO UAP base is located outside Sedona, Arizona, near the secret mountain wilderness. What? Hello. All right, well, let's break this down. So let's take a look at this clip first of him talking more in depth about it, and then we'll dig into these spots and see what we can find out.
You know, they deployed an entire carrier group down off...
A carrier group?
Yeah, the Nimitz carrier group. They deployed it down off the Baja to monitor the site down there. There's an underwater base for sure, right off Guadalupe Island, down underneath the sea.
Can we Google Guadalupe Island so we can see that?
Yeah, there's a specific spot.
You said this has to do with the church?
No, what I'm saying is that there are things happening now. There's such rapid developments that are going on now that they now know that there is this location right off Guadalupe Island, between there and Baja.
That island right there on the screen.
Which one is Guadalupe?
Well, I see, we just lost the screen.
Is Guadalupe Island? Yeah, down there's Baja. One of those. It's right there. It's which one is Guadalupe?
The little thing right there. Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, that would be it.
Got it.
Okay, so is that Guadalupe Island? Yeah, that's the one. Right off that island, right there, beneath the sea. They deployed the entire the Nimitz carrier.
That's David
group.
Fravers.
Yep.
Right.
And they monitored over 100 sightings of UFOs coming and going down into the ocean right there and going down to the bottom of the ocean. And they were monitored by the submarines. That's right, monitored by the submarines underneath the water coming and going, so that there's virtually certainly a base there. And that there's another base outside of Sedona, Arizona, over by there's a place called Secret Mountain Wilderness over there. That's just totally desolate area. There's a base there where where the craft are, and so that there's a number of them high in the mountains and remote areas of the planet, and that they're here now, and that they're extraordinarily distressed. You can tell about the state of affairs right now.
Of humanity.
Yes.
So let's take a closer look down here at Baja, California, where apparently this UFO base is located, right? In between this island and Baja here, right? In this little section here, there is some sort of UFO alien base, right? Where they have tracked over 100 little Tic Tacs or UFOs flying in and out of the water. Now, I have to say, why aren't all hands on deck, the entire military complex headed to that area, right? If it's that provable. I don't know about this. This is interesting for sure. I mean, we're getting a place named and we're looking into it. And I've covered it on the show here before, right? But I just find this so fascinating, especially this other place in Arizona as well, because this is sort of a new location I hadn't heard about. But before we get to this place in Arizona, which is fascinating, let's hear from Danny talking more about this underwater base off the coast of California at a Yale presentation he gave, because there's one thing near the end that you're going to find interesting.
And we also know that it appears that these different species have bases here on our planet, high up in the remote mountain regions where they're away from all of the people's observations, and very remarkably, under the seafloors on our planet. There is one of these bases just down off Baja in California, down off south of Los Angeles, off Baja, off a place called Guadalupe Island. In the USS Nimitz, a full battle carrier group that was placed there to monitor them. They monitored over 100 of these UFOs coming and going, coming down from outer space and going under the water at that spot, being monitored under the water by the nuclear submarines that were attached to the USS Nimitz battle group. They've analyzed this. We know that there's a base down there. The former 4-star admiral of the United States Navy, Tim Gaudet, who is the head of NOAA, actually asserts that they have a good faith belief that there's a base underneath the seafloor there off Baja. Very, very importantly, that members of these species have in fact been abducting.
Now, that was from a previous live stream, and of course that thing at the end there about abductions, that's for another episode entirely. But right before that, he talked about Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet, right? Knowing about this, that is fascinating, and that is probably what he is going to testify at the upcoming November 13th hearing in the House led by Representative Nancy Mace. So that's my guess there. And that's sort of a revelation. Is Tim Gallaudet going to drop this bomb in the hearing that there's this underwater base in between Guadalupe Island and Baja, California? Right? Involving Navy submarines and the USS Nimitz class carriers, right? What? Now let's jump to this alleged UFO base that's in Arizona near Secret Mountain Wilderness, right? Just outside of Sedona. And Sedona is just down the road, right? As we can see, in between Sedona and this secret witch mountain or whatever it's called, Secret Mountain Wilderness, right here. And there's a little place called Devil's Bridge, which is interesting, right? So in between this area, there's a UFO base somewhere right here. There's a UFO base with aliens, right, that we know about and that is just clearly named. There's main roads, there's towns. Let's take a closer look at Devil's Bridge, because keep that in mind. That's going to be interesting. Let's look at some photos. I mean, look at this area. There's a UFO base out here. Somewhere in these, desert area, which is honestly very touristy, right? There's just a lot of tourists out here and a dog, right? I don't know. This is crazy. Just a lot of tourism, right? And keep in mind these features. Oh, wait. Why was that place blurred? Look at that. Why is that blurred? That's interesting. That's kind of interesting. It's the only place is blurred. Regardless, this place is, so many tourists here. I mean, it's beautiful, right? But there are a lot of tourists and dogs. This is interesting. They just have a UFO base where there's a huge tourist attraction. That seems kind of odd, if you ask me. But who knows? And what's interesting about that Devil's Bridge? Well, if you remember, in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, they were in Wyoming, and a UFO mothership came over Devil's Tower. And it looks just like some of those images we've shown. So is that a coincidence? I don't know, right? But that is kind of interesting. Devil's Bridge, Devil's Tower, UFO motherships, UFO bases. I don't know. I mean, clearly we're not just going to find the UFO base there on Google Maps. That would be hilarious. But why this area, right? There's just so many tourists. I just don't understand. I'm finding it hard to understand. Is there an entrance? How are these craft getting in and out of this area exactly? So, and why that area specifically, right? Just like the underwater base. I don't know. This is a lot to take in. I wish there was some proof to back it up, but I'm glad we're just naming places at least so we can study and look into it. I mean, people can literally go to these places, especially there in Arizona, and check this out. So do there need to be some, a vetted field trip to Sedona? I don't know. Maybe I need to go visit Devil's Bridge and find out. But this is interesting. And more than anything, I'm just so curious about all of this.
Are they among us? In the desert? Are they watching? Some say never. Are they near? Just out of reach? Like a wave crashing on the beach. Where are they from? When are they from? What do they want? Are we safe? Listen closely. The truth is out there. The truth is in us.
All right, I hope y'all enjoyed today's video. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep.